What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to take a look at Bitcoin here. Right now, we're sitting at $10,238. We're up 1.12%. What I wanted to dig into was the clusters of wicks that we're dealing with here at support area. The support area we were looking at was 9,708. You can see this right here in green. And basically what you've been seeing here is the market's trying to feel for a bottom. That's why you're having all these long wicks. Typically, when you have those long wicks to the upside, just like we had over here, long wicks, long wicks, long wicks, clusters of them, you have those sell-off. Same deal to the upside when you have these longer wicks on the bottom, a lot of times then you'll get pushed to the upside. So what's happening here is buyers are stepping in at this area on top of this symmetrical triangle. How we looked at this symmetrical triangle, we've talked about it before. We've anticipated this for quite a while, guys. Typically with symmetrical triangles, you'll get that breakout, and what you'll do is actually have a throwback, come back and test the top of that symmetrical triangle before you potentially can get moving again. Now, with all these wicks, it's not a guarantee that we're going to find that bottom exactly where we're at right now. This is the cryptocurrency space, guys, and anything can happen to it. But typically when you have 5-6 days with all these wicks that we've had in here and you're showing that defense of that 9,708, a lot of times that will be the bottom. And then what we're going to do is try to go back up and test this trend line, which we have not done yet. We have not tested that, back tested that trend line. We've tried to get up to it a couple times, but we have not had a clean back test of that. And I still want to see what we do with that in terms of are all these wicks at support going to come on more volume so that we can get to the upside, because the volume is still low. But what's interesting is these wicks were taking place at that support area while our RSI was down around 32. And typically, guys, in uptrends, at least, like how this is still considered an uptrend, we have not lost the 200 moving average yet. We're trading below the 100 now, which I don't like. But typically for you, if you're a longer term investor, when you want to sell out of a position is when you've had a trend line break, the trend has changed, then also once you have dropped down through that 200 moving average. And if we take a look at that, so our 100 right now is at 10,279. So we need to reclaim that today. That's going to be important. But what I want to do here was take a look at the 200 and see how we're looking with that. We haven't taken a look at it in quite a while because we've been up above it so much. So our 200 would put us back around $9,000. Is that a possibility if these wicks don't hold up and this buying pressure doesn't hold up here? And this is basically just move sideways before we get another drop to the downside. That's the key area I would look to stay up above. If we end up losing the trend line, we end up candle closing below that 200 moving average, that's when things really could get ugly for us. But we're not at that point yet. We're seeing some defense from that $9,708, and now we are back up above $10,000, which we need to hold today. We need to candle close up above 10,000 and turn that into support, guys, and never look back. That's the key, because if we get trapped under $10,000, it can act as such a staunch overhead resistance, and that's the last thing we need right now. And typically, historically, September is a bad month for Bitcoin. Overall returns are about 7%, negative 7%, excuse me, to the downside in September. So, this really could be a month where everything just cools down before we potentially can keep this moving to the upside here. In terms of the RSI, we're at 38 right now, and you can see we are still having lower highs and lower lows coming in. So we would need a trend line break out of this RSI. That's something I'm really going to be paying a lot of attention to. But these wicks are significant, guys. Typically, when you get those wicks in that area, that's when you're going to see some type of reversal. And you can see they're really standing out in this area. And a lot of these wicks were down over 3%. So we're going to have to see if that's the spot. If we get into our technical analysis here, for Bitcoin, we have a 13 sell, 9 neutral, and a 6 buy. So starting to get a little bit better. We were down to a 17 sell at one point. I think it was about 2 days ago. And what you're seeing on the oscillators, we actually are having a buy. So that's something that we're liking to see, that the oscillators are getting a little bit stronger there. We have a 1 sell, 8 neutral, and a 2 buy. The buys are going to come from our momentum and also our Williams percentage range there. Our sells going to be coming from our MACD level. Remember, this is all going to be on the 1-day time frame is what we're looking at here. Another thing I want to point out, because I like to use micro Fibonacci's. So from our low that we ended up having in our symmetrical triangle to the high of this area, what you can see is we're having all these wicks right around this 0.618, and that's at 10,260, and that's a key area for us there. A lot of the times we will get bounces off that 0.618 or even that 0.5, and then we get our next move to the upside. So this is an area to still be cautious, but we want to continue to hold that 10,000, then that 9,708. Long-term investors, we have not broken down through those key moving averages yet in terms of breaking down, saying I need to get out of my position. If you're a longer term investor, not financial advice, that's when you still want to sit in your position. Shorter term traders like myself, we were getting out of our positions when we saw the Head and Shoulders top, the one I pointed out on the 4 hours to you before we had that break with my medical procedure and everything. So wanted to bring this to you guys. If you get some from this, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. God bless each and every one of you. You guys are great. Take care, my friends.